Alrighty guys, hey, it's Daddy here, and I just want to start as always by saying thank you for taking interest in my channel, and I really hope the content provides useful for you. If it is, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button so I can continue to grow and provide more quality content. And if you really enjoyed the content, you might even consider buying me a coffee, and the information for how to do that will be in the video description below. So, now I got fun stuff out of the way, let's get into today's topic. Alrighty guys, as mentioned earlier, today we are trying to get Ubuntu 22.04, the LTS version, or the newest LTS version, installed on our Dell 720 or R720 PowerEdge server. So this is actually finally I've got it working and I've got it up, so I just want to kind of start at the end and show you what the final product is going to look like. So if I type my login and then password, you see that it works. So anyway, that's going to be the goal. I'm going to go ahead and kind of walk through what I did to set up, and then I'll get everything cleared off, and then we'll start over from scratch. So basically what you're going to need is, so here was a server that we were working with last time. You're going to need a VGA cable, and you can put that, there's a port on the back and the front, so you can put it in either and it will work. And then you don't need one, but I have basically a USB splitter or extender. So I plug that into one of the USB ports in the front, and then I have a keyboard and a mouse, and all those things are plugged in. So that's really all we need, and then just a monitor or TV or something that'll work. I tried it on TV first, it did not work, so then I just cannibalized one of my monitors. And interestingly enough, it did not work via the HDMI. I had to plug it in via VGA. So that was fairly interesting. But anyway, so make sure you plug it in via VGA. Once you get everything set up, you'll be ready to go. And another thing too, which we went over in a previous video, we're gonna need our bootable drive. So basically we need to use something like Rufus to enable our flash drive to basically allow us to boot Ubuntu, and there's a lot of tools like Rufus or Escher or something else like that that will allow you to do that, but it's pretty easy. There's a separate video on that, it's really quick, but you will need this going forward. So I'm going to stop now, get everything set up, and I will see you guys in the next part. Alrighty guys, I started everything up, plugged in our bootable drive into the USB port in the front. So we're going to let everything boot up here. And we're going to go into the system setup, and then we're going to use the configuration utility to set up our disks. So basically that means we need to start spamming F2. So Fn and then F2. So I just continually hit it, and then we're entering, and then we need to press Control R. You're gonna see Control R pop up here in a second. Alright, Control R to run configuration utility. So there we go. Cool. Alright. So now what we want to do is I've already configured this previously. So basically what we've done is there is one group. I have 5 disks. So I don't know how well you guys can see it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So one of mine broke. I was hoping to have 6, but it shipped bad, so I'm only setting up with 5 today. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up 4 in a RAID 10 configuration. So RAID 10 has a lot of the speed benefits. It has speed benefits and it has redundancy. The only downside of RAID 10 is the fact that you only get half of your disks are usable for storage because of the redundancy. So anyway, I don't want to turn this into a RAID video. So if you're curious, I'll link a really good video that explains all the different RAID configurations really well in the description. But anyway, for now, what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and clear out this configuration. So basically, if you hit F2 again, look at operations, and you see so you can create a new virtual disks. Well, we're going to clear the config for now. So yes, I'm going to clear. Okay, so basically what we did is we just cleared it out, and now we have 5 4 gigabit disks that we can arrange. So I'm going to go back up where it says no configuration present, and then we're going to hit F2 again. And then we're going to create a new virtual disk. So basically all we're doing is we're just assigning how we want to use these physical disks. And the virtual disk is just one, arrangement of the virtual disk is one arrangement of the physical disks that we have. So you see there RAID 0. We're going to go down with RAID 10, but again, you can really use whatever you like here. My preference is RAID 10 for redundancy and speed. And then basically we come down and we set, I want the drive in slot 0 and 1 and 2 and 3 to be in my virtual disk configuration. So the first 4 disks are what I want. And I'm just going to leave 5 alone because I'm going to add that probably to something else later. So okay, cool. The only thing we need to do is give it a name. So I'm just going to name this main, and then R110. So that way I know that it's RAID 10. Okay, cool. And then so it's recommended all newly created devices be initialized. This is fine. We're just gonna hit OK here. Okay, and then we're good to go. So notice how you go to physical disks. You can see it says span 0 and then span 1. So that's telling you how it's actually breaking down and organizing your disks in this virtual disk here. And then we also have one unconfigured physical disk that we can use later. So that's how all that works. And then whenever you're finished, you can hit escape. And then, are you sure you want to exit? Yes. And then you can reboot, Control Alt Delete, and that'll let us reboot. So okay, now we're gonna wait again, and it's gonna reboot. And this time we are going to we're gonna spam F11. We want to reboot into the UEFI install settings. All right, so I'm gonna start hitting F11. And there we go, we're entering, you can see there it says entering UEFI boot manager. So that's the technically correct name. That's what we're trying to do. So we're gonna let this do its thing, and it can take quite a while. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna come down to UEFI boot menu. All right, cool. And then you should be able to see, well, we've already installed Ubuntu, so, but anyway, this is the USB with the bootable media we have. So we're gonna select this option. And then it says try or install with Ubuntu server. So we're gonna go from that. Okay, so again, select your language. For me, it's going to be English. And then you have the option if you want to change the keyboard layout. again, I'm gonna leave it as default. And if you want a minimized version, feel free. I recommend just the regular Ubuntu server. It's already pretty small. You don't really need these third-party drivers. If you're connected to your Ethernet port is connected, you should be able, or this should already come up. So you should kind of see, some IP address mapping already populated. If not, don't worry about it. You can always configure it later. We do not have a proxy address. We are not using any alternative mirroring, so we're just going to leave this as is. Yes, we want to use the entire disk, and setting up LVM group is fine. And then at least I don't want any encryption, so that's up to you if you want to add that. Yes, everything for me is default is fine. And you can continue. And finally, my name. So Spencer. Your server's name. Oops, sorry. I'm just gonna put my first and last name. Server name is going to be SDK. Ubuntu. We are 2204. And username is going to be SDK. Enter my password. And then boom. I'm not going to use Ubuntu Pro. Feel free to check that out if you'd like. So we are going to install OpenSSH server. You can also do this later if you'd like as well. But I'm going to go ahead and install it because I'm going to set it up so that I can SSH into this machine from my my regular desktop. And I'm also going to show you, once this is finished, how to set up SSH so that as long as it is correctly configured and plugged into your local network, you can SSH into your server as well. And then in future videos, I'll show you how to use like VNC or some other methods so that you can even install GUI and remotely interact with your server via a GUI if you want. All right, cool. So we're done now, and we're gonna go ahead and reboot. And it wants us to remove the installation medium, so we're gonna take the flash drive out, and then we're gonna hit enter. That's gonna shut our machine down. And then we're gonna boot up again, and this time it should boot up into exactly the original screen that I showed you the first time, and we should be able to log in with the username and password, and everything should work perfectly. So once that happens, I'm gonna show you guys how to set up SSH or configure it so that you can log in from another computer, or if this is just a server for you, you can log in from your desktop. So my assumption is most people are going to be kind of going that route, so I will show you guys how to do that. And there we go. So it looks weird right now, but you can tell now that it's ready to roll. So you can go ahead and log in. And there we go. Excellent. So cd out. See that? Okay, there's my home directory. Okay, let's cut the chase here, and let's go cd out, and let's go into etc. And we should see that there's SSH, so there's SSH in there. So we can cd into the SSH folder. Okay, and now we need to make two changes to the SSH config for now. I recommend that you absolutely fix these later, but since really, at least in my case, the only thing connected to my computer is my desktop, or my server is my desktop, I'm gonna enable password login for now, but later I'm gonna switch it to SSH keys. And I'll show you how to do that in a later video. But for now, what we want to do is we want to, first of all, we're going to need to do apt install nano, and this is I think I may have left my caps lock on. Oh. Okay, cool. So Nano's already installed, so we're good there. But basically, I think the default is Vim, and I hate Vim, so it's just a different text editor that you can use. So anyway, so we're going to sudo nano so we can edit the file, and then we're going to look at SSH config. Okay, and then see, we're going to go down and password authentication, yes. Let's make sure nothing else we need. Yeah, so we should be good there. So then we can control S, control X, then we can do the same thing, except now we just need SSHD config. And then we can come down and look at password authentication. So there we go. Cool. So with those two changes, now we should be able to log in with our password when we SSH. So that's important. And then what we need to do is we need to start. So we need to check, first of all, I bet it's not running, but we need to see, so sudo service SSH status. So it is running. Okay, awesome. So that means we need to restart it. So the whole point is we need to reload these settings that we just changed. So we're going to restart. We're going to make sure that it's running again. Excuse me. Status. Okay, excellent. Cool. So we're running now. So now we need to see what our IP address is. So that way I can test logging in from my personal computer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause video here. I'm gonna look up the IP address, and then I'm gonna switch over to the other, or my desktop, and then we're gonna test to see if we can SSH into the server. So, but we should be all good as on the server end at this point. So I will go to the next part and see you there. All right, guys, cool. So here we go. So here's the command. I'm on my Windows PC now, which is connected to the same network, or they're actually connected by a small switch. But anyway, so I typed the command SSH, my username at the IP address, the private IP address of my other machine, and then it found it, and then it asked, do I want to permanently add this fingerprint of that machine? And I said, sorry, did you sure you want to continue connecting and add the fingerprint? And I said yes, and then it added everything. I typed my password in, and now I am logged in as SDK at SDK Ubuntu 2204. So that's exactly what we wanted to happen. And now I can, see where I'm at, and then, do whatever I need to do on the server. And by the way, just in case you're not familiar with how to get the IP address or how I found the IP address, the command is sudo apt install nettools. So sudo apt install nettools, and then if config, and that's going to show you all of your different interfaces and the IP addresses associated with them. I need to double check and make sure I'm not going to show you anything sensitive, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is what I got after I ran the if config. So on the other machine. So as you can see, I'm plugged into the first interface, and then it shows me my IP address. So that's really all there is to it there. So also, guys, one last thing I forgot. If you are using a DHCP server and you're not statically assigning your IP addresses, make sure you go into your router and you statically assign or set aside a DHCP reservation for whatever IP address your server is going to be using. Otherwise, if you wait too long and you don't access your server very often, or whatever the case is, the chance the IP address could be reassigned somewhere else, and then you will not be able to SSH into your server anymore. So, may not be hugely important, but just something to think about. Alrighty, guys, that about does it for today. If you like the content, please consider giving me a like and a subscribe so I continue to grow and produce better and better content for you. And if you really like the content, you might even consider buying me a coffee, and the information for how to do that will be in the video description. If none of that sounds good, at least just give me some feedback in the comments. Let me know how I'm doing, if anything's unclear, or if there are things that I can improve on. But above all, guys, thanks again. Appreciate you watching, and have a great rest of the day.